Gaming Bolt presents 15 Dumbest Plans by Video Game Villains. Every game has its share of memorable villains, from those with sinister plots to misunderstood villains who are actually working for the greater good. However, it's not hard to find a few of those best-laid plans a little, shall we say, idiotic in some circumstances. Let's take a look at 15 of the dumbest plans that video game villains have ever put together. Hugo Strange, Batman Arkham City. The story for Batman Arkham City starts simply enough. Bruce Wayne is against the creation of this massive city as an asylum. Hugo Strange captures him and knows about him being Batman. From there, Batman escapes into the city while Strange goes ahead with his plans for Protocol 10. Why doesn't Strange try killing Batman or Wayne sooner? Granted, he sends an assassin or something, but all of those military forces and you still don't make him a priority? Why even kidnap him in the first place then? Albert Wesker, Resident Evil 1. Wesker has to be one of the dumbest yet most dangerous villains ever. In Resident Evil 1, Wesker has a virus in his body that may bring him back to life. The superpowers that come later are a bonus. In order to fake his death to the rest of the team, what does he do? Well, he gets impaled by the tyrant right through the chest. If the virus hadn't worked, Wesker would be very much dead. Couldn't he find a better way to fake die if it was that important? Albert Wesker, Resident Evil 5. Of course, Wesker is equally dumb in Resident Evil 5. He could have just taken his bioorganic weapons and wiped out the human race. Instead, he sells some to terrorists for a heftier profit. What is the point when he already has everything he needs, especially when it just attracts the BSAA and his eternal thorn, Chris Redfield, to eventually stop him? What good will money be when humanity's dead anyways? KESSLER, Infamous. Otherwise known as Future Cole, Kessler's grand plan is to turn the present Cole McGrath into a hero to better combat the Beast. The problem is that the Beast not only shows up sooner, but Kessler's grand plan is to create an army and have them fight Cole. This results in widespread damage of property, several dead, and so on. Keep in mind that the goal for stopping the Beast is to save people. That's not even counting the Rayfield plague caused by the Ray Sphere that would kill humanity if Cole didn't sacrifice himself and all conduits. Derek Simmons, Resident Evil 6. The title of idiotic villains in the Resident Evil series has some serious contention. Take Derek Simmons, the national security advisor who decided to spread the T-virus in Resident Evil 6. This caused an infestation of zombies, widespread chaos, and the death of the US president. And he did all of this to improve the United States, which is the equivalent of burning your house down to fireproof it. ZINYAK, Saints Row 4. Though ZINYAK soundly defeated the boss of the 3rd Street Saints, he saw the potential for his future demise. So does ZINYAK kill the boss outright? Well, of course not. He instead throws him or her into a simulation for torture or something. The boss escapes and thus brings the plan for ZINYAK's downfall, which is when the latter actually takes things seriously. Voss, Far Cry 3. Though he's arguably one of the most charismatic villains in video game history, Voss is pretty bad at killing Jason Brody, Far Cry 3's protagonist. Voss allows Jason to escape and the latter succeeds. He then proceeds to bury him, tie a cinder block to his legs to drown him, and even shoots him in the chest, which Jason miraculously survives. Why not set him on fire, shoot him in the head, chop him into pieces? Why not be absolutely sure that Jason is dead? Even at the end, Voss prefers to fight one-on-one with a knife, we think, as opposed to bombing Jason or anything else. Eggman, Sonic Unleashed. Let it not be said that Dr. Eggman doesn't have his own bouts of stupidity. Eggman's plan in Sonic Unleashed is to turn Sonic into a werehog, thus draining the energy from the Chaos Emeralds to help raise Dark Gaia. Sounds good so far. He then releases Sonic with the emeralds for the sake of having a challenge. What? Do you not think that Sonic is going to come back and beat you like he's done hundreds of times before? Furthermore, remember all of the other times Eggman tried to control some ancient evil and ended up backfiring? Well, guess what happens here? Wheatley, Portal 2. One of the more charming additions to Portal's cast in the sequel was Wheatley. Not because he's verbosely glib, but also because, for all intents and purposes, he's an idiot. When he replaces GLaDOS as the lab's controlling intelligence and becomes evil, his stupidity nearly destroys the facility. Even in the end, while trying to kill Chell and GLaDOS, he triggers a reactor meltdown. Keep in mind that he's a personality that was meant to keep GLaDOS from becoming too dangerous. Team Aqua and Team Magma, Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. Looking to revive the legendary Pokemon, Team Aqua and Team Magma seem to serve noble purposes. Team Aqua wants the world's oceans to expand, believing that humanity has taken advantage of Pokemon and thus returning to a more primitive state. Team Magma wants to expand land masses, believing that mankind can develop further as a result. Neither of these geniuses have figured out how ecosystems actually work though, and that Pokemon and humans will die in droves by their actions. Darth Vader, Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. We still haven't figured out what Vader's plan was in Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. First, he trained Starkiller as an apprentice to kill the Emperor. Then he's forced to kill Starkiller but covertly sends him to foster a rebellion. This will presumably keep the Emperor busy while Vader does his thing. Finally, Vader shows up, arrests the rebellion leaders, insisting this was all a plan to expose them, but also attacks Starkiller. Why? Well, because he doesn't want to rule the galaxy with him. Thank goodness all of this has been retconned. The Illusive Man, Mass Effect series. So the Illusive Man and his organization Cerberus seem to have humanity's best interests in mind. That is, until it is revealed that he wants to control the Reapers. What a great plan that certainly wouldn't end up with, oh look, the Reapers now control the Illusive Man. What a shocker. Liquid Ocelot, Metal Gear Solid 4. On the one hand, I'm tempted to just excuse Metal Gear Solid 4's greater quirks as nanomachines, son. On the other hand, there's just something so bizarrely fascinating about Liquid Ocelot removing Liquid Snake's arm and using it as his own, while also using nanomachines and hypnotherapy to make himself believe he's Liquid Snake. Which is done, by the way, to ultimately destroy the Patriots' core AI, that Solid Snake is ultimately responsible for doing. That's also part of Ocelot's plan, by the way. Oh, and everyone knows that the idiot with the fake arm is Ocelot and not Liquid Snake, but that's another story altogether. Super Joe, Bionic Commando 2009. The plot of Bionic Commando is the typical secondary character tricks the hero into completing a task and then reveals himself as the actual villain. In this case, Super Joe revealed to Spencer that the latter's wife is part of his arm. Pretty grim, but the entire reason that Joe released Spencer from prison was to retrieve Project Vulture before the bioterrorist group BioRain. So why did he betray him and then reveal himself as the leader of BioRain? Why didn't he just lie about Spencer's wife? You could chalk this up to arrogance, but it's still pretty dumb. Why not keep him locked up and just let BioRain retrieve it instead? Jin Kazama, Tekken 6. After defeating Jinpachi and taking control of the Mishima Zaibatsu, Jin declares war on the world as their new head. Along the way, he battles against Lars, a former Tekken force field leader, and his father Kazuya, who now commands G Corporation. So all that death, destruction, and drama was for what? Just so Jin could fight against the ultimate evil Azazel? This would save the world from a greater threat. However, Jin also wants to rid himself of the devil gene. In fact, Jin can't even exist without the world's negative energy. Oh, and did we mention that despite defeating Azazel, he still has the devil mark on his arm? What the heck was the point again? Just so Jin could exist, causing pain and suffering to all? That worked out great. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.